Yeah, yesterday morning we woke up to some distressing news. Got a message from our Marina operator where our boat is stored that unfortunately two large sections of roofs collapsed over the covered slips where boats are stored underneath. Now, where we are, fortunately, our section of the marina was not affected by this. But since we've had so much snow this winter, incredible record high amounts of snow. And the problem is it started to get warm over the weekend. And when it gets warm, the snow gets heavier because it's wet. And for whatever reason, there was some sort of a structural failure on those two roof sections. And they didn't fall straight down, but they kind of whoop sideways and pancaked on top of the boat. Yeah, so from the information that the marina has sent us, there are 66 boat slips that were affected. My recollection is that most of those slips were full with boats. There were boats in them. So yesterday we got a few pictures came in, dribs and drabs. Of course, we spent the whole day talking to our fellow boaters, as many as we could contact who are in the marina. And yeah, the first couple of pictures that we saw are very distressing. Like I say, Boogaboo should be okay. That's what the marina tells me. Now, before I get into the bulk of this video, I just want to ask everybody, if you want to leave a comment, you're more than welcome to. But please keep in mind that there's been a lot of people who have been devastated by this event, and there's a lot of uncertainty. So we don't need any speculation back and forth, finger pointing, or anything else. That does not help the situation at this point in time. So let's keep everything civil and be mindful of all the folks who have been impacted by this tragic event. Okay, in a nutshell, this is what had happened last weekend. As was reported to us on Sunday, one of the main buildings that housed a number of boats collapsed. And that was at some point during the day on Sunday. I'm not quite clear on what that is. But then later on Sunday night, a second building collapsed as well. The buildings that I'm referring to are part of the marina where we keep our boat. Now, we keep our boat in a covered slip, which means drive the boat in there, park it, and there's a roof over top of it. And during the off season, what they do is they actually lift the boats in those slips. And the whole idea is that the boats are raised in their slip, beams go underneath them, they lower the boats down on those beams, and that is where the boat will sit for the whole winter. Now, in this case, our marina has 6 of those structures. So what happened here was 2 of those structures failed. As I believe I mentioned earlier, a total of 66 boat slips, which in essence means a potential of 66 boats in those slips. So what happened here is when the roof came crashing down with the boat still in the slips, of course, the boats were then all subject to the damage of the wood and the metal and the snow and everything coming crashing down. And as you can see in some of these photos, is that when the building was tilting over and falling over and collapsing, the boats that were there on top of those beams, everything kind of went sideways. I was able to talk to one of the neighbors who lives across from the marina. And he was telling me on Sunday evening, in around 10:30, 11 o'clock, he was watching TV and he heard some creaking and groaning and cracking noises. So he went outside. He thought there was ice or snow falling off of his own house. So he went out with a flashlight to check it out. Couldn't see anything, went back inside and kept hearing noises, but couldn't put a finger on it until the following morning when he got up, he saw this. But he had told me that the sounds that he was hearing the previous night went on for 3 or 4 minutes. So that means that building was falling down slowly. Again, you'll see in the pictures, it looks like it was leaning towards the north. Whatever triggered this, we don't know, but it didn't come down with a big crash and boom, but more as a sliding over, falling over slowly. Now, I would strongly suspect that there would have been no way to stop it once it had started, but I found it interesting that building would have pitched over slowly over a 3-4 minute period. To me, that sounds like a lot of time, but I guess that was just the physics that was involved. Now, here's a top-down view I took back in the summer. And again, to put this in perspective, these 2 structures that you see, the one that is closest to us, so more towards the bottom of the screen, that's where our boat is stored, in that building there. And that building is still standing, no problem, but it's the building immediately across from it. That is one of the 2 that had collapsed at the marina over the weekend. And now just panning up, and I'm going to zoom in on that spot, and I'm going to look across towards the west side of the marina and where the other building collapsed. Now, here's a photo that I took this past summer over at West Harbor, and that was the first structure that collapsed over the weekend.
And this is what it looks like now. This one appears that it may have come down a lot quicker than the other building. It just simply looks like it came down quicker, faster, with more oomph. Now, that just might be because the roof was a little bit lower, but at this point, no witnesses have come forward to say that they heard it going down fast or slow or whatever. But who knows? We may learn a little bit more about that when the investigation is completed. One more perspective shot. This is taken from our boat. Again, in the building that's still standing. Our boat had actually at this point been raised for winter storage. So I was up on the deck of the boat, getting rid of dock lines and that, getting ready for, the long-term sleep of the winter. And I thought this would be a nice time to take a beautiful picture. And unfortunately, all those boats that you see there are the ones that are now under that collapsed roof. Now, if our Marina's tragedy wasn't enough, Anchor Girl found this photo on Facebook last night, immediately showed it to me, and said, "Wow, look, here's another one." I said, "That's Pefferlaw." She goes, "What are you talking about?" I said, "That's Everglades Marina in Pefferlaw." And I know it because we were there for 5 seasons, I think. Not in that collapsed building, but the one more off to the left. That's where Boogaboo 3 was for a number of years. Yeah, another sad situation. And finally, I'm just going to say it again. Please be considerate with your comments. There's a lot of people who have been devastated by this, so please take that in consideration. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but this is our new reality. Of course, I'll keep you updated if there's any major developments in this story. Alrighty, see ya.